Good evening, everyone. My name is Ronnie Isaiah. I'm your anchorman on Jerusalem News TV. Please welcome our commentator, David Kalimnik. Welcome,
Hi,
David.
everybody. Hi, how are you? Shalom.
How are you doing tonight, David?
Thank God, I'm doing pretty good.
You ready for another episode of exciting news from around the world?
I'm really excited. It's been a pretty good week, by the way. Had a really good time with some buddies the other day. We went down to En Gedi, and it's been pretty good. It's been a pretty good week by me.
And we'll hear more about that coming right up. On our first story, Charlie Rose interviews Khaled Mashal, the head of Hamas. The question that we're asking, will Hamas recognize Israel as a Jewish state?
Well, based on past what we would call reaction to the concept of an Israel state in Israel, we believe that Hamas,
a state of occupiers,
will not.
Khaled Mashal said life is not a prerequisite, life is a right for our people in Palestine. He said this is a collective punishment.
According to Mashal, they need to work with their citizens in order so that they can have the human shield stuff.
Netanyahu also was on Face the Nation after Mashal, where he said that he was talking about former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright in a separate interview, and Mashal's response to the question about whether Hamas could coexist with Israel sounded like double talk to Netanyahu. The bottom line, he says, is they're seeing each other's problems from a completely negative side, and what you need to do in diplomacy is at least try to put yourself into the other person's shoes. They're definitely not doing that. That's what Albright said to Bibi.
I don't even know who Albright is, so something. What does Albright really know? If Albright, whoever this Albright is, there's no. Why don't you first get a name for yourself and then become somebody who gives commentary?
Prior to that, Mashal told Rose that while he's ready to coexist with Jews, Christians, and Arabs, he added, however, I do not want to live with a state of occupiers.
Well, and that is the beauty of Mashal. He really is a peacemaker. He's pro all Israelis who do not live between Kiryat Shmona and Eilat. Israelis, Jews living in the Gaza area. He is pro Jews living in Gaza.
Netanyahu has killed our hope, killed our dream, and he killed the American initiative.
Mashal added that Netanyahu does not take heed of our rights. Netanyahu has killed our hope, has killed our dreams, has killed the American initiative.
You see, and there you go. He's just because Netanyahu is a murderer, killing hopes, dreams, and initiative.
He added this in reference to Secretary of State John Kerry's role in the peace talks. We'll go to the next story about John Kerry. It seems that the United States sent Kerry to Turkey to talk to Egypt, including Qatar, on what Israel should do.
Well, on a ceasefire. And I believe it is about time that Egypt, Qatar, Turkey, and America do form a little peace between them. It's about time for peace. Peace in the far west, east of the far west, east.
Thank you for that inspiring point. CNN reports that Hamas agreed to a 12-hour ceasefire starting Saturday morning, temporarily halting more than 2 weeks of bloodshed that has claimed more than 900 mostly civilian lives.
And that's important. And that is important that there is a unilateral ceasefire. As we've seen, unilateral ceasefires have worked in the past. Unilateral ceasefires where Israel does not attack after being attacked. And that's where the problem happens, when you have an attack and then there is a response to that attack. As, thank God, now Israel has unilaterally ceased fire, and so the attacking is only happening from one side, causing for less deaths.
In regards to Israel not firing upon the Arabs.
So they're willing to. Can you please repeat that for the audience, Ron?
The Israeli cabinet had earlier rejected a proposed one-week humanitarian ceasefire, but Kerry said no final proposal was submitted to Israel for a vote. Kerry told the reporters, "Let's make that clear." He said it to the reporters in Cairo. There's always mischief from people who oppose.
Well, there's
certain
always
things.
mischief, Ron. There really is mischief, if I may say, and I will say, because there is a lot of mischief when you have voting. And as we've seen in the Middle East, a lot of successes happen through non-voting. Once you allow the people to vote, as we've seen, a lot of problems start. People start sharing their opinions. The next thing you know, you need a dual lateral ceasefire, and then problems start. People start sharing, and then next thing you know, you have a different leader.
And this happened in Egypt, where Morsi was elected by the general public. Same thing happened in Germany, where a short, funny mustache-looking man was voted into power by the majority.
You see, and it's not a joke. It's not a joke. We're not voting for clowns.
In efforts to reach a deal, he called for 12 hours humanitarian ceasefire with the hope that at least Israel would maintain it.
Yeah, and we do hope that Israel is able to stick to their unilateral ceasefire and to stop, and even worse, the rockets. Israel has recently been stopping rockets through this, what's known as the Iron Dome. Part of the new peace talks is to stop the Iron Dome from working so that the people living in the Gaza Strip, the Hamas groups over in the Gaza Strip, may be able to do what they are trying to do, instead of Israel, again, blockading their needs.
So they're hoping, what you're saying is they're hoping for a ceasefire and a cease Iron Dome from the Israeli side. The news story that just came up from Reuters, the U.S. has signed the agreement for $11 billion arms sale to Qatar. That includes Apache attack helicopters equipped with AN/APG-8 long bow fire control radar, and it's purchased from the U.S.
And the great thing about this Qatar ability now to ship into Gaza is that it's people that, and I hear this all the time, and I think we all hear that people in Gaza are not educated, but who else knows how to fly? Do I know how to fly an Apache helicopter? Do you know how to fly an Apache helicopter? I don't even know how to say Apache. And
The Apache.
they are doing an excellent job with the exporting of, recently they've been exporting missiles into Israel, trying to start an actual trade, a financial trade. So yes, there are exports coming out of Gaza, and I think that they do have a good financial future ahead for them based on these new exports that they're working with.
On our next report, David, the Jerusalem Post reports that Abbas and UN Chief Ben head to Qatar for Gaza ceasefire talks. We just reported on that, so that actually is not the next story. That's the last story.
So if you haven't heard, there's ceasefire talks happening in Qatar, as there's been a lot of Qatarian American fighting going on, which is why America is shipping armory and weapons to Qatar.
Now we're looking at a picture up on the screen of Qatar's Emir Sheikh Hamad bin Khaled Al Thani.
Well, due to the length of the name, there is no more reporting. I believe the time is up on that report.
And
I'm sorry, there's no ability for me to comment.
you've commented very nicely thus far, I must say. Well, there's a staging ground where the troops gather before they go into Gaza, and a lot of the Israeli supporters of what's going on have shown up. Some have shown up with fresh spring water for the soldiers. Others have shown up with cake and cookies. Now
It's been reported that, if I could just explain, there's been reported that many soldiers have been complaining due to the lack of milk being served with the cookies. There's due to the sun and its ability to spoil milk a lot of the people that have been donating very selfishly have not been bringing over milk.
And yet, well said. And yet others have decided to bring something new to the staging ground. They asked us, so let's deliver. They're bringing underwear packages for IDF soldiers. IDF soldiers will be able to don brand new and clean underwear as they enter and exit from the staging area.
Well, it's part of the uniform. In Israel, there's a lack of underwear, as can be seen on the streets, and now the IDF has started making the soldiers wear underwear. It's been quite disturbing to see the skid marks on much of the underwear that has been brought in, and being that they do not know how to clean that, as children in Israel are usually not wiped, the army has been stuck with just throwing out the underwear. A lot of underwear has been just thrown out in the garbage, so they do need more underwear.
It brings,
Gaza.
brings a whole new level to the term going commando. Another story from the Times of Israel. Gal Gadot, hardcore, as Wonder Woman. That's right. They've casted a new Wonder Woman, and she's Israeli. Gal Gadot casted for the part recently.
Oh, actually, well, a lot of the new underwear that they've been donating to Gaza, they're shipping some to Gal Gadot so that she can have something to wear.
She does not wear that Wonder Woman costume around the house or even in public. That's part of the movie costume. Actually, we have a picture here of her and her daughter lighting the Shabbos candles.
That is so beautiful. That is so. Wonder Woman lights Shabbos candles. That's like, it just brings like a whole new, like, I love being religious. Like, that is so nice.
Well, if the religious would not necessarily be taking a picture of the lighting of the Shabbos candles, but maybe it's an approach to. Maybe it's an approach to being religious. It's a traditional family.
Oh.
And that would be breaking the Sabbath.
Well, I mean, from what I understand, if a man does not take in the Sabbath with the lighting of the candles, a man generally takes it in with the
And right you
Kabbalat
are.
Shabbat.
And I stand corrected. Very possible.
But that's why I'm here to comment.
Thank you.
On your commentary.
And you are a rabbi, so you understand these things as a rabbi.
Not just a commentator.
A Hillel rabbi commentator.
Oh yeah, no, that's why you're allowed to take pictures as much as you want. If you want to take pictures on Shabbat, you're allowed to do that too.
Right up until Shabbat.
I mean, it depends on how religious you are. I mean, if it's a nice service, you might want to catch that moment. And to not catch that moment, a lot of people, Ron, have had a problem with going to the Kotel on Friday nights. And then how do they let their parents, like let's say on Taglit, birthright, how do you let your parent find out that you are at the Kotel if you're not taking a picture of the Kotel on a Friday night? That's, right there, religious persecution.
And we know, David, that you're joking here because of the seriousness of the topic. A little light humor is exactly the relief that our viewership is looking for and why they tune into our show. On other news...
We were sorry to bring up the serious topic of our show is not supposed to be that that heavy, and to bring up the serious topic of lighting Shabbos candles is not something we should be doing on the show if we can get back to the war.
Yeah, not after the light subject of the war. Now, next Jerusalem Post article, regulations for electric bicycles take effect September 1st. We've all seen these electric bicycles around up and down the streets, David.
Oh, finally, honestly, the city is getting so out of shape over here in Jerusalem. It's about time that they have regulations on these bikes. Honestly, it's disturbing to see very out of shape people on bicycles with those seats that are quite tiny.
Going so fast.
Oh yeah.
What regulations would you put on these electric bicycles?
Well, first I would say basically you have to have electricity on the bike for it to be an electric bike. I would say that first. I think that's an important regulation to have on electric bikes.
Other regulations, the rider has to be at least 14 years or older. The bikers must wear helmets. And the bikes must be registered officially.
Well, as long as people under 14 years old do not have to wear helmets while they are riding their bikes. I think that you put on too many rules, then you have a society which is known as as a dictatorship, and we do not want people voting.
In other news, the Times of Israel reports on Jon Stewart. So funny, yet so wrong on Israel and Gaza.
I think he blatantly said that the Iron Dome is a negative for Israel, and I think I agree with that, because that is not allowing the Gaza people, the people over in Gaza, to then shoot their rockets into Israel. It's again inhibiting the goals of the Gaza citizens, and Israel has to stop inhibiting their goals. So, do I agree? Do I not agree? It's not. That's not the question over here. I believe the question is
They've listed his jokes, joke for joke. One of his jokes is tastes great, more killing. That's a good one.
The issue that Jon Stewart was bringing up is the fact that Israel is trying to defend itself, and again, it has to stop defending itself. Jon Stewart recently made the claim, and I believe it's very important that we follow this, that Jews belong in New York City, and that's where the Jews belong. To even think that Jews should be in Israel is ludicrous.
He has gone up in ratings, and seems to be that his show, ever since he started pointing his jokes against Israel, have gone up. His ratings have gone up and up.
He has, I believe, he has gotten huge ratings recently. He's started a fanship in Saudi Arabia and Iran. They love him in Syria. And finally, Jon Stewart taking a step towards peace and stopping the concept of Jews being for Israel, which has caused a lot of hatred for the Jewish people, and also he's really been on the forefront of Jews for no defense.
So Jon Stewart is Jewish, and which brings us to another story in Ynet. Pearl Jam's lead singer blasts Israel on stage. He's also Jewish, right, David?
Oh yeah, that's what it, that's the positive over here. We have Jews finally, letting people know how, that they are Jewish, and to support American Jewry in their fight against Israel as a Jewish state.
After leading the audience in singing "No More War," Vedder said, "So what the F? What the F? We can have this many people having a peaceful time. Not even that far away. People are effing dropping bombs on each other."
They're looking for a reason to go across borders and take over land that doesn't belong to them, and they should get the f*** out, mind their own business.
Well, he is definitely trying to make a statement there against the F-bomb.
But I swear to f***.
We have to stop dropping that F-bomb, because it's an F-bomb. And that's just wrong.
So these are Jewish people that are attacking our own state of Israel. And our final story, there was a recent story about a Palestinian woman on JetBlue who was offended by a Jewish passenger.
Oh, she was sitting on the plane. She was sitting on the plane, blatantly Jewish.
Mrs. Rosenberg, she's a gynecologist. She was accused by a female Palestinian passenger of saying derogatory things and implying the Palestinian woman might be carrying a bomb. At the end of the day, that Palestinian woman was not a Palestinian woman. She was a Jewish woman that wanted to make a point.
It's about time that Jews started attacking Jews, and Jews started, in the name of peace and civil rest, we'll call it, and pacifism, that Jews started to really just attack Jews, along with J Street, the Neturei Karta, and John Kerry, who's also Jewish. I have to be honest, the Palestinian Jewry is not, has been taking a lot over the past years, the Palestinian Jews. And we have to understand their plight.
The Dr. Rosenberg, she claimed that she was called a Zionist pig by Miss Kipnis, who was masquerading as a Palestinian, actually a Jewish lady.
And it was at that point in time where a big protests took place on the plane, saying, "How dare you call her Zionist? That is extremely offensive and wrong."
My name is Ronnie Isaiah. I'm your anchor. Our commentator David Klimnik will be
Everybody,
right
I'm your
back
commentator.
after these messages
That means we're going to be coming right
with
back.
a special
Thank you.
report from our special guest tourist.
Oh, he's coming back. The
Brian
tourist-
Hoffman will be back with
Brian
us right
Hoffman is
after
coming
this
back.
message.
Oh, I can't wait
Stay
to speak
tuned.
to him. Find out what he's been doing this week. Shalom, everybody. We're back at Jerusalem News, and right now we're here with Brian Hoffman, who's been in Israel for a whole week already, and we're really proud to have him here on Jerusalem News. How are you doing, Brian?
My name's John Kerry, and I'm reporting to duty. Yeah. Ceasefire. Unconditional.
Is this... Dude, you're Brian. This is getting a little awkward.
I gotta use this stuff because, I gotta make $6,000 a month here just to be able to afford an air conditioner. So, you gotta use everything you can get. Pinch every penny.
But you are... I believe you're a tourist. Brian, you're
Well,
a
who
tourist.
knows? I may be here indefinitely. I don't get a round trip. I get a one-way ticket.
You get a one-way ticket, but what about...
Abraham told the Jews that we gotta be in Israel.
Yeah, but you are not living here. You're not an Israeli citizen, Brian. So, Brian,
Yeah.
what have you been doing over the past week that you've been in Israel? If you could please tell our audience.
Well, I've realized that here in Israel it's a good idea to get a shawarma before 12 o'clock, because that rotisserie thing, they don't got any meat on the skewer afterwards. You're just looking at falafel.
And-
Seriously.
Oh, when you're looking at falafel and you're buying a shawarma, how do you feel when you're buying a shawarma and there is no shawarma and they're serving you falafel and giving you the shawarma price on your falafel?
Well, I used to be able to get a shawarma back in 2005 for about 15 shekel. Now the thing costs 30. Add the beer to that, you're looking at 50 shekels already. I gotta go to a job fair tomorrow just to be able to afford to stay here for another month.
Well, it's good to have you here.
Thank you.
It really is. It's been really nice to have you in the country. Israel is here for you, and it loves, and the energy that you bring to Israel has been making people so uncomfortable, and it's been so nice
Yes.
to have you here.
I try, and I'll tell you something. You guys get here, you might want to get used to walking. I've been walking a lot. I'm from Baltimore, and I'm representing my Super Bowl 47 Baltimore Ravens. Somebody the other day said, "Hey, what basketball team is that?" I'm like, Kador. What is the basketball? Kador Ball?
Yeah.
Kador Ball.
No more Kador Ball.
Right, Kador Regel
Kador basket.
Atsota Brit Baltimore Ravens. The thing is, though,
So knowledgeable, and it is, it's a shame that Israelis only know about European football and Israeli football, and it's about time that they showed you a little
Yeah.
respect as Israelis and learned a little bit about the Ravens, who haven't won a
the
Super Bowl.
Ravens and the Orioles, Kador Basis. Terrace wouldn't do too good at that either.
And that's
because
Brian,
you got
everybody. That's Brian. Thank you very much, Brian. It's been great
Yeah.
having you on the show. We're looking forward to hearing your update next week.
Oh yeah.
And
Can I kiss your hand again?
no, but it's been great having you, Brian. And
You're a holy
Brian,
man.
You are. Brian
Just
is
like the
still
Kotel.
here in the studio.
The
and,
Western
we are
Wall.
finished. We are finished. That's how to show Yerushalayim, everybody. Thank you for coming out.
Shalom.
And that was with everybody. Put your hands together for our host, Ron Isaiah. I am David Klimnik, and over here he's still in the station.
I'm right here reporting
He's
to
still here,
duty.
reporting to.
So long, Kerry. Not in the Middle East anymore.
That's our tourist. That's the kind of tourist we get here in Israel, and we're going to be speaking with this man again. Thank you. Thank you for coming out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a Hadashot week, everybody. Have a Hadashot week. Hadashot.